I'm coming to you from the National Conference of TRADAI from Berlin. This is an interesting choice of location because as a city, Berlin has broken from its past and rebuilt a very good future. And this is what India's real estate industry, especially residential sector, needs to do now. They've been in a churn. They need to find answers and solutions for the future. Over the course of the day and tomorrow, I'm going to catch up with some of the leading voices and of course different stakeholders from the industry to tell you what they have in mind to reinvent themselves. Two of the key stakeholders of the industry are with me, Baman Irani and Khushbu Jindal. And from them, I just want to know what are some of the key essential things that the industry needs to do to get ready for the future. Baman Irani, let me start with you first. I heard this passionate, fabulous conversation at the podium there, dais there, and you were of course asking all the questions, but let me start with you. What was the takeaway from Mr. Jindal's conversation for you, the real estate sector, which is battling this heat at the moment?
I think three or four things that he said were very relevant. One is to keep your nose above the water and, keep moving ahead with the fact, knowledge of the fact that things are going to get better in 2019 and 2020, and it's going to get much better because you're an absolutely unregulated industry that's suddenly gone to the throes of regulation. So change is always going to hurt you for some time, but at the end of it, when you get it right, it's the perfect conducive environment for growth to take place. And the other thing that I think we took away was innovation and customer recognition or customer care. The old ways of doing business where you just got your land or got your approvals or whatever are out. Today you've got to have end-to-end service provision for consumers. You've got to kind of give them all the facilities that are possible and treat them as repeat customers. Every customer is a word of mouth to somebody else's apartment purchase. And of course, the end is this is a game where you've got to watch your finances very, very carefully. Transparency and trust is a very, very big factor that could be helping you to kind of grow your business. So if you keep an eye on these things and you kind of want to focus for the long term, I think we're in the right space.
Talking about problems and innovation, I think a very important statement you made, and we are guilty of it, is that we look at numbers and we say there's so much inventory, 4 lakh unsold units, demand is really slow, and you made a very pointed comment saying that, media says there's no demand, but there is demand. And I agree, there are some developers who are selling, but explain it to us on why we should get over this big question mark when at one side or on one side developers are saying sales are slow.
So you're absolutely right. So what I meant was that both of us are right. You are also right as press and we are also right. So let me explain what I meant on the stage. So today, the way we look at it, being the insiders, being the largest funders in India, is that we are clearly seeing the segregation between the men and the boys. We are clearly seeing that because we are deep into it. But you guys will definitely not see it because the people who are the men who are doing better are in the minority. Also, what's also happening, I spoke about distressed developers, right? I said that we actually try to get the distressed developer married to a good developer. But the truth is also there that today there are so many projects which are stuck halfway, which I'm not sure whether even the good developer is ready to take that project. So to that extent, you guys are right. When you see around you say, okay, where are the sales? What's happening? Why is Khushbu saying there are sales? So both are right in that way.
Okay.
I do believe, so it's a very important point you have raised, Manisha. I do believe that is one big negative for the industry, that perception to change, because while developers like Rustomji, etc. will start doing better, they are already doing now well, but from the layman's perspective, we will continue to see this half-built buildings. It's going to take a long time, and that's in fact my only worry, that what's going to happen to those projects, unless of course the markets bounce back in the future.
We talk about perception, and I think more than the consumer, that confidence will come back. Baman and Khushbu, both of you need, I might or at RBI or in the banking sector, the perception is missing. Why is it?
So, Manisha, even I had this perception. And I was fortunate to meet somebody very senior in Reserve Bank of India recently. And I asked him this question that, sir, when, I'm not from the lending industry, I'm from real estate. And I believe this is the best asset class. Otherwise, you're funding a factory. What happens in a default? Here, at least you have land, you have real assets. So why are you against the banks? So this is the wrong perception we all have. He answered me correctly. He said that, it's not that we are against. We do believe that it's the best asset class. But then it's for you guys who understand the space. And as I said, you have to make your term loans or your entire funding formula or whatever based on each project. He said the banks are not equipped. They are the tick in the box guys. So I am not encouraging the banks to lend to real estate because they are the trick in the box. But obviously you guys will do well, and I know that you will do well.
Let's talk about the consolidation in the industry, Kamal. So there are lots of developers who are stuck for last mile funding and probably need those innovative financing solutions as Piramal offers. Yet there are a lot of developers or wannabe developers who should not be in the business. We've been talking about consolidation, but do you see it happening in a meaningful and a big way?
So it's in its infancy. Having said that, a lot of consolidation is taking place, thanks sometimes to the financial institutions themselves stepping in and playing a proactive role to kind of educate the developer that it's better to use your synergies, right? And we all know that you can use 1 and 1 to only add up to 2, and probably then you can multiply 2 and 2 to make it 4 rather than just that's the wrong example, but 3 and 3 could become 9 with 3 plus 3. So the point is, use your synergies to kind of grow the industry and take care of the demand that there is. I see this, taking place or rather changing in a big way in the next 2 years, and I see a lot more, including cross-city, developers consolidating. Because let's say I want a presence or a footprint in the NCR market.
Already happening.
Yes, it is only now that the government understands that it doesn't really know everything about real estate. Okay,
Do they accept that now?
well, they have started accepting it.
Okay.
They will not say it on our faces, but they invite us before they kind of take any major decision. So they invite CREDAI as a body, they ask us to come and give our comments, they kind of interact with us, they take our papers, they actually sit and try and understand. And you know what? It's a great process. I'm not saying tomorrow morning everything's going to be great, but just the very fact that you accept that there's an industry body which can give you the facts and give you data or interpret the data a little differently than where you are, you're at least in a position to be able to make that choice. And I think that's a great move.
2020, I mean, do you feel hopeful it's going to be, the worst will be over in the next 1 year and we will see, I think everyone's benchmarking, Khushru, to the 2005 to 2008 period, and everyone wants that kind of excitement in terms of demand to come back, especially for residential. Offices on a good footing. Do you think it's likely, looking at the pent-up demand that we have in the economy?
As I said, demand is always there. It is just that people are sitting on the fence because they didn't know where to put their money, with whom to put their money, the actual buyers, not the investors.
Correct.
And again, I would say that even if say 2020 things come back, it's already started. Of course, we are hoping that we have a stable government and things will actually revive. It will far more than even now. But it will go. I would go back to my statement that it will be happening for those few developers who have now moved from the traditional industry of doing business to an FMCG type of business.
Thank you, gentlemen.